Welcome to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
The Redhill Brothers, Part 3. I'm your puppet. Hey there, everyone. Matt here. I know Zach was supposed to take the reins on this one, but when he went to write it all out, he discovered he couldn't write. Should have seen this coming, but you never know until you know, I suppose. We both apologize and hope you enjoy his antics through me. Again, I'm nowhere near as funny as he is. Plus, I'm going through the death of our grandma, so please bear with me. Anyway, it's been a while since the last story. There's a whole lot of things I could probably tell you about, but I'll bulletin the small things. First off, we did end up going to the pie eating contest they had at the train station. It was a great day, and we had a lot of fun at the beer tent. We had a ton of pie. And, against my warning to my brother, he even ate contestant 6's pie. I mean, she seemed like a sweet little old lady, as sweet as they come. That didn't stop the state police from coming out of nowhere and surrounding her, though. It was a complete shock to everyone when they pushed people out of the way and drew about 10 guns on her. She tried to make a break for it, but one of the officers, armed with a rifle and dressed head to toe in tactical gear, smashed her in the face with a rifle and slapped cuffs around her. We were angry and about to charge him. However, she turned face up to him, sent her knee into his crotch, and proceeded to headbutt him. The glass from his face mask shattered, and as he fell to the side, this sweet little old woman pulled her legs through her cuffed arms, got up, and ran off beyond the tracks. Officers opened fire when they finally had a shot, but, as if on schedule, a train came rolling by, cutting off their view. When it was done, she was nowhere to be found. Come to find out, the pie was a meat pie filled with human remains. I didn't find out if she was some kind of monster or just a cannibal. But luckily, I heeded the warning from the radio, and Zach promptly puked his guts up. I had to remind him he was about to eat the same pie. Again. The same day, there was a hot dog eating contest that Zach was looking forward to. Unfortunately, the only other person to enter ended up dropping out. So when the time was near, it looked as though they were going to have to cancel the whole thing. However, at the last moment, a group of kids that were hoping to watch all asked if they could count as one person and challenge him. Well, how about it? Think you can beat a bunch of kids? The woman running it asked. Heck yeah, I'll beat a bunch of kids. Let's do it. In the end, Zach won 10-12. No big surprise. He won a certificate as well as a coupon for a free pizza at the Bull. Never thought I'd be awarded for beating children, he said, and everyone laughed. The town had fun, and that helped fix what would have been an otherwise terrifying, if not confusing, day. We've been slowly trying to domesticate the ghoul in the basement to get that medallion. It's most likely in a pile of manure somewhere, and we still don't have much of a plan yet. It doesn't throw things around and scream all hours of the night anymore, though, as long as Zach feeds it. He's even taking it to calling it Captain Bubbles. The only real trouble we've had was the day Zach tried to make it a vegetarian. See, the way he does it is he'll leave some raw meat just in front of the trapdoor, knock a few times, and his claw hand will come snaking out and pulling it down. It's pretty disturbing to watch. Well, he wanted to see if maybe it wouldn't kill people if he switched it to lettuce. So he left a head of it like usual, and on cue the arm pulled it in. There came the sound of crunching, and the thing bit into it. Then complete silence. The next moment was hell on earth as an ear-shattering screech erupted, along with the lettuce that exploded against Zach's face. "No, Captain Bubbles, no!" he screamed. The trapdoor began to bang, and I scrabbled to get some lunch meat. I threw it down there, plastic and all, and it still took a good 20 minutes for it to calm down again. Damn thing spoiled. Another thing to note, there's been mysterious disappearances of our brooms lately. I looked around for one a couple of days ago, and there wasn't a single one to be found. I just figured Uncle Bob must not have had one, so I went down to the store and got a straw broom, as well as a finer synthetic broom. They both went missing the same day, and I yelled at Zach, thinking he was playing some kind of prank on me. I swear, dude, I didn't do anything with them. I do have a theory, though. Nope, I know exactly where you're going with this, and I'm going to stop you right there. All right, but we both know it's gnomes. Ugh, you're so frustrating. Since that day, I've gone out and bought 5 more brooms. Every single one of them has disappeared, and I have no leads on them. So I hope to hell we don't end up spilling anything. For the most part, that's all that's really worth telling. So now, the main feature. The day was like any other day. Summer was coming on pretty quickly, and we realized how much of a pain in the ass mowing was every week. Given we didn't really need to mow all areas of the property, but I wanted to keep tradition alive and keep it looking the same as it always did when we'd come up as kids. I was able to talk Zach into getting a riding lawnmower with our savings. They were drying up pretty quick, so we did our best to keep our budget tight. No more Bull's Pizza every other night, unfortunately. Serena and her girlfriend Brenda still came by once in a while. She was adamant about staying away from the basement, which meant no more pool games either. But we set up the croquet set and drank outside when it wasn't too hot. We were still cutting and delivering wood, but it wasn't paying as much as we'd hoped, which is why we accepted the job from the mayor. This is honestly a pretty hard thing to write. I mean, I know we've had a lot of strange encounters since we moved to this town, but this was something different on its own, and I don't think I can put it into words just how unsettling this was, but I'll do my best. It was very long after I got done mowing. I went upstairs to lay down and cool off for a bit, and heard the phone ring. I expected to hear Zach answer it, but eventually it hung up and started ringing again. "Hey, you gonna answer that?" I heard him huff as he got off his ass off the couch and walked into the kitchen. I didn't catch a whole lot of the conversation, but Zach began yelling questions up to me. "Hey, Maddie, is there a Mr. Redhill here?" "That's you, dumbass." "The mayor's on the phone. He wants to know if we'll do him a favor." "No. He says it's a job. He'll give us money." I thought about our dwindling account and then thought of all the expenses we had. It wasn't that expensive living here in the nutsack of nowhere, but we needed to save for house and land taxes at the beginning of next year. And I had my suspicions that my brother's gambling and women problems haven't quite stopped. I haven't walked in on him with the Mrs. Butterworth bottle in a while, thank God. But I wasn't honestly sure if that was worse. "Yeah, fine. You take care of it. I'm going to take a shower." I grabbed my clothes and towel and made my way back down to the bathroom. Passing by, I heard him talking to the mayor saying, "Sure, I love puppets." I didn't know what that meant, but Zach had a habit of talking about anything with people, so I tried not to think about it. I should know better than that. I hopped in, got dressed, and asked him what the deal was. First off, the mayor gave explicit instructions not to freak out when we get to his office. Something about puppets, I don't know. All right, that's kind of weird. What was the job? Okay, so hear me out. We're going to become electricians. Don't think, just say yes. What now? Well, the mayor didn't tell me a whole lot of details, but we got to go down to his office and talk to him. But if we do this, then we could make a business of installing all kinds of stuff, like heating pumps and ACs. We'd be rich, I tell ya. I turned from my position at the coffee pot while putting on a fresh pot. Ah, I see. Get rich quick scheme. Well, I hate to tell you this, but I kind of have a fear of electricity. I don't fear it, he stated in the back 2 seconds. I looked away and then looked back. He was wearing a beard. I respect it. I blinked. I didn't know what to say, and I thought maybe I was finally losing it. To my relief, he pulled it off and showed me it was a fake. I hate you sometimes, I said, taking a long, slow sip of my coffee. The town hall was about in the center of Phillips. It was a short drive, and I made the mistake of turning on the radio. Good day, Phillips and Sons. The time is now 5:46 p.m. The weather is sunny, and a good day to go out and enjoy the coming summer. If you're out there waiting to find the boys, head on down to the warehouse on the west side of town. Some people have begun to report young men being attacked by cougars. We remind you to stay away from the deeper parts of the woods, trails, and dive bars. If you come across a strange pod, please don't destroy it or touch it. It won't hurt you, probably, but it's a big responsibility. That's all for now. Please enjoy your regular broadcast, already in progress. Cougars attacking young men, eh? Now that's a problem I can handle, laughed Zach. I really wanted to know about that station, but I still had no leads on where it could be. But maybe I'd look more into it when I can afford to. The building was bigger than I expected, as the town itself really isn't that big. Zach and I stepped out and into the dirt parking lot. Remembering the last time we were in one, I kept a sharp eye out for him. This was the name we decided to give the homeless man, as he was usually walking around in high heels. I saw him a few times passing through, and saw he acquired a pink boa from somewhere. His long, messy hair now appeared to be neatly permed. Thoughts of Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show came to mind, along with old episodes of the Powerpuff Girls, so it seemed like an appropriate enough name. The coast was clear, and we walked through the double-glass doors. To the left of the doors, a woman was at the desk answering a flood of phone calls. Someone was seeing a little green men in their field. Another person was calling about trees that moved on their own. There were various oddities, and that poor, tired-looking woman had to handle them before having time to greet us. "Hello, how can I help you?" she asked blandly. "Hi, I'm Matthew Redhill, and this is my brother Zachary. We have an appointment with the mayor." She seemed to light up at this. "Yes, Mr. Redhill, we've been expecting you. Just pass through those red doors over there." There were indeed 2 red doors. They seemed entirely out of place for such a country building, like doors to a throne room that someone had put in a barn. I thanked her, and we made our way over. The door was heavier than it should have been, almost like there was a vacuum seal on it. After really pulling on the handle, it swung open. It was dark inside, from a lone candle in the center. Alarms were going off inside my head. It was against my better judgment to go into such a weird place, especially in this town. We looked at each other and nodded, though. After the crap we've been through, the 2 of us would be all right. Probably. "Please close the door." A soft voice with an English accent spoke out from the other side of the room. With a sigh, I pulled the large door shut, and the sunlight cut out. I could see a lot better now, and from where the voice had come from was a large old desk. Sitting behind the desk was a figure with wispy white hair and a deep red lips. His stiff fingers reminded me of Lego men, and his unblinking eyes felt like they stared directly into my soul. The person rose and stuck out a stiff-fingered hand. "Ah, the Redhill Brothers. I was hoping you would come. I'm Mayor Bargast. Pleased to make your acquaintance," he said with a bow. "Hey there. So what's this job you want us to do?" I asked. "And are those strings?" asked Zach. I looked a bit closer. There were what looked like multiple springs coming off the man that led up to the dark rafters of the ceiling. Yes, they are. I've called the two of you here to turn the electrical panel back on in the building outside of town. Dude, that's awesome! But why do you have strings?" blurted Zach. "I suffer from a condition. This marionette's body is merely that, a marionette. Anyway, the building in question is the... Why? What's wrong with your actual body? Is it freakish? Can I see it?" "Yes, well, no, actually. You see, every mayor in this town has been cursed. As soon as we are elected, our bodies contort into something unnatural, and something like that would surely give you nightmares. Now, if you don't mind, the building is in the warehouse on the south side of town. It's been abandoned for some time. The front door will be locked. I'll give you a key." "Tell you what, we'll do it if you give us a peek. Just a quick one. And a medal," interrupted Zach again. I swear, I could feel the air in the room grow hot and heavy, and a faint light, focused from the puppet's face, began to show brighter than the candle that flickered, making the shadows of the room dance in silence. "If you interrupt me one more time, you will regret it," said the mayor in a slow, threatening voice. "I am not someone you want to have as an enemy." The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and my blood turned to ice. From the looks of my brother, he felt just as intimidated and quickly stopped talking. And then, just as quickly, Mayor Bargast picked up where he left off in his light, jovial tone. "I will give you a key for the back door. It will have to be returned on completion, as it is a very special key. Complete this job for me, and I may give it to you for other jobs. Well, what say you, gentlemen? Up to the task?" I was afraid to open my mouth, but I had a few questions. "Yeah, we'll do it, but can I ask why us? We really don't have much experience with electricity. Never took a single course. Normally, this would be a job for the city. However, as you undoubtedly saw coming in, here we are stretched thin. Also, no one else will take the job because of, well, it might be a tad haunted." "A tad haunted?" I asked. "What the hell does that mean?" "Well, you see, there's an old Indian spirit there that kind of chases off anyone that comes near it. You boys were born into the strange world of Phillips. It's in your blood. Plus, I've been hearing of some of your exploits, truly marvelous. I have no doubt this will be quite simplistic for you lads." I sighed, slightly frustrated. It couldn't be enough that a life-size wooden doll who was mayor-elect was giving us work, but of course, the place was haunted. "Yeah, I suppose. Like I said, show me your face and give me a medal and I'll go around and pug smuggling if you want me to," said Zach. Once again, the room grew heavy. "All right, fine. I'll give you a bloody medal and you will see my face. But just remember, you asked. But first, your task. I wish you luck, gentlemen," the puppet said with a salute. From somewhere above, something flew down and clanged against the carpet. I bent down and picked up a small key. It looked old, like the kind that had a round shaft, with a few teeth at the end. On the flat part was the picture of an eyeball surrounded in a circle, almost like the all-seeing eye on the back of a dollar bill. I was relieved to walk out of that dark room, and the daylight felt harsh on the other side. The woman barely gave us a smile of goodbye as we left. The phone continued ringing nonstop, and it was apparent there was more wrong with this town than I previously thought. We got back to the truck, Zach behind the wheel, and pulled onto the road. I noticed he was going the wrong way and was about to ask when I realized he was going to the bull. Gonna need our strength before we go in there. Never been up against a ghost before, especially an Indian ghost. They're worth at least, 2 ghosts. Did you forget about Uncle Bob? Well, no, but he hasn't tried to swallow our souls yet. Plus, he doesn't seem too put off by that medallion of yours. I put my hand to my pocket, feeling the circular shape. He was right on both counts. Well, make it quick. I want to get this over with and collect our money. You got it, Maddie. I won't hold your girlfriend up for too long, he said with a wink. Don't make me grab a stepladder and kick you in the ass. 20 minutes went by, which, to his credit, I figured would be longer. Zach came out with 2 large pizzas, breadsticks, chicken wings, and Serena following in tow. Good God, are you pregnant? I asked. What? It's going to be a long night. Whatever. Hey, Serena, what are you up to? Hey, Matt, Zach was telling me about your new job, and I just got off a bit ago, so I thought I'd tag along. That's all right, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Wait, I don't actually know how safe it's going to be. There's supposed to be an Indian ghost running around. Oh, don't worry about me. I got my bodyguard and her 16 little friends. Plus, all the more reason for me to go. It could get dangerous, and I saw how you guys looked after visiting the nursing home. I considered this, and she was right. Since then, we've always made sure to have some sort of weapon with us in the truck. But nothing could beat hot lead. All right, but you gotta hold the food. Zach might breathe it all in before we get there. Deal. Hey, I haven't breathed in anything all day. Which reminds me, we also need our spinach. I took the wheel, and he got in the middle next to me, much to my dismay. Serena took the door. I pulled back onto the road as Zach fished a doobie and lighter out of his shirt pocket. Humming the Popeye theme, he lit it, and we made our way to the other side of town. The sun was setting behind a large hill, casting the town in blood-red color. I never cared for that time of day. Made me feel like us and everyone else was dead in some sort of hell. We passed the spiff around until it was a roach, and I finally began to relax. It didn't take long to get to the warehouse, and I was surprised to find a van already parked there. The really odd part about it was one of those vans from decades ago with a picture of a unicorn sprayed onto the side. It wasn't as good as most of them go, and actually looked like a child's drawing with stick legs. Definitely made me question the person that owned it, but we weren't here for that at the moment. And these things have a way of revealing themselves in their own time. Sure as hell didn't take long. As we rounded the corner of the large building, there was a man and a woman sitting on the steps. The man was a tall, skinny guy with shaggy blonde hair, and the woman had long red hair with thick, round glasses. They looked at each other and smiled, then started giggling. I was surprised things could still make me uncomfortable. Hey, who are you guys? I asked. We've been hearing about you two, and we wanted to come with you on one of your adventures, the woman said. The guy couldn't stop giggling for half a minute. Yeah, man. We heard you were coming here to bust a ghost. He got out before bursting out in another raucous round of laughter. Great. A fan club. All right, you groovy dudes. Like doobie snacks? Asked Zach, pulling out a joint. You read our minds, man, the guy said, laughing even harder. In the 20 minutes we smoked, my nerves began to turn from creeped out to annoyed. Serena seemed to share my feelings, and we ate our food, which Zach was more than willing to share. We learned their names were Melvin and Sheena. They were a couple of hippies that were touring the state as part of their spiritual awakening or whatever, and I pretty much stopped listening after that. Zach got along just fine with them, of course, and when we were done sharing each other's stash, I realized just how stoned I actually was. Say what I will, but they had some amazing stuff. All right, gang, are we ready to go solve the mystery of the missing power? I asked the group. They all nodded, and before I knew it, we were all giggling and couldn't stop as we all filed in. As I pushed the key into the knob, I noticed it had an orange scarf tied to it. Yoink! Yelled Zach. He pulled it off and wrapped it around his neck before tying a neat knot in the front. This seemed all too familiar, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. The hallway was long, and we turned on our flashlights. It didn't even occur to me to ask if they had one. They did, luckily, so it saved on backtracking and made it easier to make our way around. As high as I was, the silence was becoming unnerving. We made our way to an open room that must have held some sort of product at some point. We looked around for a moment and then jumped as smoke began to pour up from the floor in the center. It began to clear, and we could see the transparent figure of an Indian chief, complete with a full headdress. Leave here and don't come back. If you don't, then you will become ghosts yourselves by midnight. Ooh. Everyone was about to run, but Serena stepped forward, aimed her gun, and fired. The bullet went straight through. Great! It's a real ghost. Criminy! You, have been warned. And with that, a small flash exploded, and he was gone. I shot right through it. Nothing, Serena yelled in disbelief. Call me Chief Moving Foot, 'cause I'm gone, yelled Melvin. Before he could get far enough, though, Zach pulled on the back of his shirt. Wait a minute. You see what I see? Yeah, black soot, said Sheena as she bent down and rubbed it between her fingers from where the Indian disappeared. Why would the ghost of an Indian need fireworks? I'm not sure, gang, but we're going to find out, I said. Zach, Melvin, and Sheena, you take the ground floor. Me and Serena will take the basement. You think that's safe? Sheena asked. Of course, we can cover more ground that way. As soon as we can find the generator in this place, we can turn the lights on and get the hell out of here. Janky! I mean, that's janky. I don't know about that, man, said Zach. Will you do it for a doobie snack? He dug through his shirt pocket and was shocked to find he was out. Go along, I yelled, throwing him my case. He ran backwards and reached his hands out to catch it, when Melvin jumped in front of him and caught it instead. Intercepted! We all went our separate ways. Zach and the two hippies went further into the warehouse and were already sparking up. Serena and I walked along the wall where metal stairs went downwards. The small clang of our steps echoed louder than I would have wanted. If the generator was anywhere, it would be down here, and I could be back home and not giving a rat's butt about this spooky stuff. Serena followed closely behind. I could tell her nerves were on edge. The bottom led forward into a hallway with 4 doors on either side and a turn to the right at the end. You check the left, and I'll check the right, I whispered. Even that felt too loud. I could easily hear both of our heavy breathing. She nodded and walked into the first room on her side. I went into mine, and it was large and full of boxes. I flipped the tops of a few of them off, and they were stuffed full of uninteresting papers. I began walking out when I heard something coming from the back of the room. Even with the flashlight, it was hard to see, as shelves and boxes were everywhere, but it sounded like feet scraping around. Then came the sound of a drum. It was slow at first, then began to pick up. I backed away from around a corner came the Indian chief. Instead of being white and transparent as before, now there was no skin and two black, empty eye sockets staring back. And in his hand he held a drum, which he was beating with the tomahawk. He laughed as he raised it over his head and threw it. I dove to the right as the weapon flew overhead and smacked hard into the wall. He pulled out a knife and began to make his way towards me, and I crawled on all fours to get out of that room. Grabbing the handle, I slammed it shut, and from the other side, Serena came running. "What's wrong?" she yelled, gun brandished uncomfortably in my direction. "In there! Ghost Chief!" She quickly opened the door and scanned the room. I got up and followed her in, and there was nothing there. "You sure you didn't just smoke too much? That was some pretty strong stuff." I swear to God, I saw it here. It threw a freaking hatchet at me. The tomahawk was now gone, but the deep gouge in the wall was still where it hit. I could tell she didn't believe me, even if she didn't say it outright. So I just dropped it. I actually did find something. Apparently back in the 40s, this building was storing old Indian artifacts that were due to be sent to a museum in New York somewhere. There's accounts of legal battles between the owner of the building, Fred Sharper, and an activist named Trevor Ling. Most of these artifacts were dug up right from this property. Well, if this building was built on Indian land at some point, I guess that would piss the spirits off. Still kind of weird this building would be abandoned for 80 years just because of a ghost. Shit, I don't even know if the power will turn on. This damn town, I'm telling you. We continued down the hall and tried the other doors. The second one on her side contained a lot of crates and nets, and the one on my side was locked. "You know, I kind of want to see in this room," I said, as I started to kick it in. It wasn't budging, so she gave a hand, and together we were able to break the handle. Inside was an office, and wouldn't you know it, there was a smaller little offshoot, a door that went into the room where the Indian chief attacked. It was hidden behind some crates. On the desk was some paperwork, both old and new, along with a projector. On a coat rack next to the desk was some odd Indian garb. You know, I'm starting to think there's more to our ghostly friend than just a pile of bones. "Here's the plan," I said, and we proceeded to come up with a trap using one of the rope nets from the other room. We went upstairs, up the ladders to the walkway on the second floor and set it up. After reading those papers, we knew the ghost would come soon. So Serena took in plain sight and waited. It didn't take long. "You were told to leave. Now you will become a ghost as well," it screamed from the bottom of the ladder. She screamed and slowly backed up as the colorfully dressed skeleton made his way up and over to her, brandishing a knife. It moved closer, and when it was in position, she screamed, "Now!" I pulled hard on the rope, and the netting came up from around him. He flew up, smacking his head against the railing, and I lost my grip, making him fall once again onto the railing. Then about 15 feet to the first floor in front of me, a large pipe was jutting out of his torso, and he moaned in pain. "Oh, shit. What the freak, Matt?" she yelled upon coming down and seeing him. "Well, I'm sorry. He's heavy and I'm just little. Just take the damn mask off already." She pulled it off, and the man was young, somewhere in his 20s. "Herbert Ling!" we both exclaimed at the same time. "Please, call an ambulance," he begged. Eventually, an ambulance did come, as well as an officer, surprisingly. After getting him sent to the hospital and clearing us of any wrongdoing, he asked what the story was with him running around like a ghost. "I'll handle this," said Serena. "You see, his grandfather originally started the ghost story of this place, hoping to buy it and its artifacts for cheap. It would have worked, too, if the owner, Fred Sharper, hadn't died. With no one to inherit the place, the deed went back to the town, and the bank, which refused to drop its price so ridiculously low for a ghost curse. So Herbert here decided to take over where his great-grandfather left off. But that doesn't make any sense. If the town wasn't going to lower the price anyway, why put on the whole costume to begin with? Why not just take the artifacts and go? Yeah, I don't honestly know. This town's kind of messed if you didn't already realize, I said. I guess there was never a ghost after all. Wait, where's Zach and the other two? Serena asked. As if on cue, moaning came from down the hall towards the front. We followed it, and the officer drew his gun. Herbert's gone. What the hell is that? She stammered. The moaning got louder, and multiple moans came from behind the door of one of the broom closets. The officer ripped open the door, and our flashlight shone upon a naked Zach and two hippies going at it like animals. Oh, what the hell? I yelled, tearing my eyes away. Zach lit up a joint and took a big hit before yelling, "Doobie-doobie-doo!" He instantly regretted it as he was slapped in handcuffs and dragged to jail. The next day he was released as favor to the mayor. We entered his office and the wooden thing welcomed us in. How very good of you to flush out the cause of the haunting, gentlemen. Well, yeah, but we never did actually get the power turned back on, I offered. Oh, don't worry about that, Mr. Redhill. This was merely a test. I wanted to see if you were the real deal, and you boys were quite superb. It was so unnerving to see the puppet talk and move like a person, and even look at us, but never blink or move its mouth. It was nothing compared to what came next, though. All right, we kicked the ghost's ass. I get to see the real you now. And get a medal? Blurted Zach. Are you serious? Very well. Come closer. The atmosphere got a whole lot heavier again, and I felt like I could cut the dread with a knife. Zach made his way to the marionette, and I could tell he was beginning to question his decision. He sparked his lighter and raised the light towards the crossbeams. Clawed feet stuck out, curling around the wood. A bland, brown robe draped around a bulky body, and rough, dark skin claws held the controls that moved the puppet. The light made its way to the creature's face, and it ripped the hood off, exposing multiple eyes, a huge, round mouth full of teeth which roared down at Zach. Sweet Mariah Carey, what the hell is that? He yelled, falling back onto his ass. I told you. Now you may leave. Oh, and don't forget your medal, he said, tossing it unceremoniously to the ground from above. It was clear my brother had pissed himself, and I couldn't blame him for that. You may collect your payment. $500 each from Mary at the front desk. Oh, and next time I call, you should really answer the first time. Until then, boys. We left, unsure how to feel about the entire thing. The money was nice, and Zach made pretty good friends with Melvin and Sheena. They came over once in a while, and he even talked about letting them sharecrop their weed strain in the woods around the house. We'll see what happens. So quoth this raven. I can't tell you how much I loved this episode. I've been a Scooby-Doo fan since I was a toddler, and this was just absolute perfection. Thank you, Paul. And thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and have a absolutely amazing Tuesday. Bye-bye, darlings. Thank you so kindly for stopping by my chateau, my darlings. It does mean so much to me. Please, if you have not subscribed, as many of you have not, please do so. Give me a like so I know what you would like to hear. And comment. I always love to read your comments. And special thanks to my Patreon and membership supporters. Ciao, darlings.